This is problem number 9 from section 1.3. In this problem it says solve for the angle theta where 0 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to 2 pi. And they give you sine squared theta equals 2 plus root 3 over 4. Again, because they use sine squared, I'm thinking I need to use a double angle formula, and they give you all these different forms. So let's look for the sine squared options. Well, we've got sine squared by itself, where we say cosine 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. But they also have alternative forms where this equation is just rearranged already for you. And that's sine squared theta equals 1/2 1 minus cosine 2 theta. And I want to reiterate that we cannot find sine squared on the unit circle, but we can find cosine on the unit circle. That's why we want to use this formula in place of sine squared. So we're going to say that 1/2 1 minus cosine 2 theta equals 2 plus root 3 over 4. Now, because we went and we used a double angle formula, essentially, that's going to increase the angle, or the angle where our solutions can lie. So we now can find solutions between 0 and 4 pi because we doubled the angle. So keep that in mind. We're going 2 times around the unit circle. Now let's go ahead and solve this. I'm going to cancel the 1/2 by multiplying each side by 2. So everything's going to get multiplied by 2, but that means that this just cancels here, leaving you with 1 minus cosine 2 theta. And when you multiply this side by 2, the 4 cancels, we're left with 2 plus root 3 over 2. Now I'm going to subtract the 1 over. So when I subtract 1 from each side, I get negative cosine 2 theta equals 2 plus root 3 over 2 minus, and I'm going to just convert this to 2 over 2, right? Common denominator. When I subtract that, that gives me negative cosine 2 theta equals 2 plus root 3 minus 2, and that's all over the same denominator, which is 2. As you can see, the 2's are going to cancel, and that gives me negative cosine 2 theta equals root 3 over 2. I divide by a negative, and I get cosine 2 theta equals negative root 3 over 2. At this point, we can solve the problem. When does cosine equal negative root 3 over 2? We go to the unit circle and we look for the x value of negative root 3 over 2. So we know one of them is 5 pi over 6. So I'm going to write that here. We've got 5 pi over 6, and I'm going to kind of move these out of the way. So I've got 5 pi over 6 is one of those solutions. Where's negative root 3 over 2 again? That's right here at 7 pi over 6. And it only occurs in those two spots in the first revolution around. But remember, I said because we used the double angle formula, it doubled where our solutions could occur. So now it's between 4 pi. So we have to go around the circle again. So 5 pi over 6, if I go around one more time, around 2 pi more, I'm essentially going to, if I'm using a denominator of 6, 2 pi is 12 pi over 6. So 5 pi over 6 plus 12 pi over 6 is 17 pi over 6. So another one would be 17 pi over 6. And then obviously 2 larger than that, right? 2 pi over 6, that gives you 19 pi over 6. Basically, I'm taking 7 pi over 6, and I'm also adding 12 pi over 6 to get the other ones. So this is the range between 0 and 4 pi. All right. The other issue we have to deal with is that this would be the solutions if this said cosine theta, right? This is all dealing with cosine theta on the unit circle. This is cosine 2 theta. So technically, you would say theta equals this, but because we have 2 theta, we say 2 theta equals these angles. That means we have to divide each by 2. If I divide by 2 on this side, I divide each of these by 2. So theta is really going to be 5 pi over 6, or 5 pi over 12, 7 pi over 12, 17 pi over 12, and 19 pi over 12. So again, recap, at the end, we're saying cosine equals negative root 3 over 2. Those were the angles between 0 and 4 pi because we had to double that because we used the double angle formula here. And then that's what cosine equals, but remember cosine of theta is that. 2 theta then would be equal to that. We divide by 2 and we get what actually theta would be. Because remember, we're plugging these into this formula to find our solutions. They're being multiplied by 2, and that's how we end up with our negative root 3 over 2, because when you take 5 pi over 12 and put it in here, times 2, you get 5 pi over 6, which gives you negative root 3 over 2. So these are the solutions.